Michael Jordan is the GOAT, right? I think also somebody similar said, Roger Federer in tennis, he said kind of the same thing. He's like, at some point in their careers, they were the number one, right? Or the greatest of all times, right? By different people. That's what they think. And they put in statistics how many shots they have missed and how many mistakes they have made throughout the games. It's hundreds, right? But they say that the difference between them and other players is their consistency.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Response Able with Professor Nikki James.
I mean, louder is better in my opinion.
I think so.
Because then we can yell. I feel like I have a fake loud voice. Because if I actually screamed right now, I would be super loud.
Today, I get to introduce you to one of my friends, Juan Miguel, also affectionately known to a lot of us as MJ. Juan Miguel came to my class called The Social Responsibility of Business towards the end of last semester and completely blew my class of students away with his story, with his passion, with his authenticity and willingness to be open and share his highs and lows, his struggles, his lessons and learning. Juan Miguel, as you'll learn in this podcast, just has an absolute commitment to using every single opportunity, every single good thing, every single bad thing as an opportunity to grow. And he shares his journey with us on this podcast today. So I am so excited to introduce you to him. Let's jump in. All right. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. For context for everyone, Juan Miguel came to my class last year and blew all of the students away, had such a powerful message and shared his story so authentically and openly with them. I just couldn't. He was at the top of the list or very close to the top of the list when I decided to start recording this podcast. So I don't know if it's going to be similar things that you share or things that are completely different, but I know whatever you share will be absolutely right and perfect. So thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. Yeah.
Have no idea where this is going to go. I mean, we already started going on a tangent, which I love. But my first question was a little bit, I kind of gave away a little bit where I think we first met, but do you remember when we first met?
I mean, I kind of do, and thankfully you kind of like remember the scenario. But I think it was a church. Very, very confident it was there, and we try to be really friendly at church, right? Especially with people that are not from Boston specifically. So I can't remember who introduced us though. I don't know if it was Robin.
It might have been Robin.
It might have been Robin because that's just how Robin is, right? And I remember the same thing, right? It's like just telling people my name, but I know they were going to butcher my name and they just explaining, yes, you can call me this because it's just way easier, right? But yeah, no, that's what I remember. I also remember that you always sit on the front. And I used to go to Hillsong for quite a lot of time when I was traveling back and forth between Costa Rica and Boston, but I was not living here because we used to have the office in Ashland. So I remember I always rented a car, so I was always driving from Ashland to the city to go to the church, different services back in those days. But I remember you were always in the front, and in the front was like the VIP people, right? Like people related to something, right? Some sort of special task, right? So I remember when they introduced me to you, I was thinking, who knows what Nikki does in the church, right? But I'm sure she plays a role. But yeah, that's what I remember.
Okay.
And then you start talking, and I'm like, I don't think she's from here, but I don't think she's British. I can't. And we as Costa Ricans, we don't relate a lot with Australians. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know why, but you guys don't visit us because I think Australia is already so beautiful and so dangerous. And you're like, why am I going to go to Costa Rica? Costa Rica is like nothing, right? Like it's beautiful, yes, but I'm not going to die there. So, I'm not going to go, right? So
It's
we don't.
too safe for us.
It is too safe for us. It's like, all right, nature and everything. No, we got to do something like we might die. But so we don't relate with that culture a lot. So that's why it was really hard for me to, pick up that you were from Australia.
Okay. I didn't out myself. That's very common though. I also don't have, I mean, I know I have an accent, and to say that I don't have one, I would be delusional, but I feel like my accent isn't as thick Australian as a lot of people. Like my dad was from England, so my grandmother had a very English accent.
Mm-hmm.
And I've kind of traveled a lot and things like that. And I also find that I neutralize my accent so that I'm understood, because it's really important. Like for me, I take kind of personal responsibility for making sure that I'm understood, as opposed to someone else taking responsibility for understanding me. And so I feel like I'm very aware. And when I see someone with a confused look on my face, this might be the teacher in me, where I'm watching the glazed eyes and I'm like, oh, you have no idea what I'm saying. So it's really funny. Like some people say that I'm very loud. Some people say that I'm very fast spoken, say that I'm slow, but I think I adapt. Like I'm a bit of a chameleon that way. So yeah, I was no one special in church. I think my qualification was I'd been around the longest.
Right.
That was pretty much it. And still today, but yeah, and I think because the church is from Australia, there is some assumption.
Yeah.
Because
that's true.
A lot of people thought that I kind of came out because of the church, but it was just fortuitous timing. When they hired me, they were like, well, if we get an investor from a specific place, we might have to move. How do you feel about being fluid in terms of where you live as we grow this business? And I was like, well, I'm happy to move anywhere my church is. And they looked at me very strangely. And I was like, don't worry, it's in a lot of places, kind of thing. And then when Boston came on the table, I was only coming to visit. And I came for the first time. And then our church started popping up on my on my Facebook feed.
Right.
And I was like, well, I guess if there's church here, I better go. And it had opened literally 2 weeks before. And then I went home to Australia and my bosses were like, hey, we want you to move to Boston. How do you feel about that? And I was like, oh, that's fine. Church opened there 2 weeks ago.
That is so cool. I didn't know that story, Nikki.
Yeah. So
cool.
it kind of started and then it all happened around the same time. And then it was amazing because I got to be a part of community and I got a community in a new city. Right. But I also got to build that for others because I understood the culture of the church because I've been there for like 15 years. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the only comment that I have from our accent conversation is that's why I know you're way smarter than me, because I don't know how you think or on not doing the accent. I don't have that capability. You know what I'm saying? I definitely have an accent too. Do I know how to stop it? Of course not. Right? I don't know how to sound less Latino. I have no idea. Right? How I don't even know how to make myself sound more Latino. It's the same thing. I don't know. It's just, this is just how it comes out, right? But I understand sometimes when people are talking to me and they're like, what are you saying? Because I do believe I talk too fast. So I do have to pace myself sometimes, especially when I'm doing a podcast. Just to make sure
that was great.
Right. So, but yeah, no, I can relate. I can relate to that. And that's a great story about, when you move here. I didn't know that.
Well, there you go. You learn something new every day. So the best way, I think the reason why I'm so conscious about it is because I get the immediate feedback of 40 confused faces.
That's true.
As a teacher.
Yeah.
But the thing is tongue twisters, because the accent comes from how your muscles form the space in your mouth to be able to speak. And so I learned that in China, actually, while I was working in China. We had a guy that was the person responsible for teaching all of our staff English. And he would spend so much time having all of our Chinese staff, because we were teaching in English and we had to deal with emergency situations in English. So that it was really important that they were understood in an emergency situation. And so our English teacher would always do tongue twisters. And I was like, what? This is we're meant to be teaching words.
Right.
And he goes, no, this is how you make it sound like you've got to learn the way that your mouth has to be shaped. And build up the muscles so that happens naturally. And I was like, wow, that's really fascinating.
Yeah, that's cool. And it's funny that you say that because, I mean, I know that we're going to talk about business and we're going to jump that in a minute. But one thing that I can relate to what you just said is that one advantage that you have that I don't have is that still English is your native language. Mm-hmm. So you can focus on other things more than just what are you going to say. But for us, or at least for me, I don't want to talk for other people. Sometimes you hear in your mind what you're going to say in Spanish, and then you translate it. Uh-huh. But you got to be careful on how you translate it because the verb tenses are not the same. Some words are before than others. Sometimes it goes backwards, right? So unless you keep practicing, then you have to understand how does your accent comes, right? But how I'm going to relate that to business is that whenever I've done a bunch of presentations, right? It's part of my job to give internal presentations to my team members, to my boss, to executive level within my own organization, or to clients, right? To try to make a sale, an RFP, or trying to justify why we're not hitting a KPI or an SLA, what have you, right? And some of the feedback that I have received, good feedback, is that I am way too passionate. And that they can tell when I'm speaking, right? Uh-huh. And I know it's because I fast-paced, right? I'm just like, and just going through it. But it's also like kind of like a superpower because I can definitely know when I'm doing a presentation and I'm just like going, right? I'm on fire, right? I'm just on my zone. I'm game in. But you can see the faces and people is like, I have no idea what this guy is saying.
But he's really passionate.
I mean, it's great because I'm like excited, but I have no idea what he's saying, right? So it's interesting because sometimes in business or in university, we try to prepare so much about something, right? Mm-hmm. A lecture, an assignment, an RFP, right? Or I'm talking to the CEO of the company. Mm-hmm. And preparation, it's key. Like, don't get me wrong, right? Like, you have to prepare. You have to do your homework to make sure that you have your talking points or in case somebody asks a question. But I think that passion, if you're passionate about what you do and you try to approach it with, all right, I'm going to do this with excellence, people can relate to that, right? And it's something that it's sticky, right? And you can pass along, right? So one advice that I will always give people is it doesn't matter how well prepared you think you are, trying to approach it in a very passionate way on why is it passion to you, right? Why do you believe that this topic is important for your career, for your own personal beliefs, for your family? Like, try to find that connection, why you can make that passionate to make sure that you can relay that when you do your presentation. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's way easier to show that when you're face-to-face than in a virtual conversation or meeting, which we know it happens way more often now with how the world is. But still, people can still sense your passion whenever you're doing a virtual meeting or a face-to-face meeting. So I know we've started with accent and English and all that, but now we kind of like introduce that into passion.
No, absolutely. And I think I hear what you say about me being able to think about a lot more because I'm not thinking in another language, but I would call like what your situation is an advantage. Because to me, I'm like, I have one language. That's it. You have two and probably a smattering of others that you can get by in because you understand those two root languages. Mm-hmm. So people will ask if they don't understand.
Right. That's true.
Which is cool. And the fact that I say this to some of my students all the time where they don't want to share in class because they're shy because they're worried that they'll say the wrong thing. And I'm like, dude, you're learning in a whole other language.
Right.
Like, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. Like, if I went to China right now and had to learn in Mandarin, I'd be lost. Like, you're learning in a whole nother language. That's amazing. That's a superpower. And they're like, oh, I've never thought of it like that, right. Because you always think, oh no, people are going to see, like, people are going to not understand or I'm going to say something wrong or whatever. But like, the reality is I think that's amazing. Right. And I'm blown away by it.
And sometimes you could say something wrong. Or like, you're like, oh, that was not what I meant. Just go with it, right? Like it's listening carefully to each word that you're saying.
Right.
to see if you're making sense, right? I mean, the whole message needs to have a
point.
Yes, a point, a very clear point.
Yeah.
But my point is sometimes we just go a lot into the weeds and we feel a lot of the pressure because of that. But we shouldn't, right? We should just be ourselves. I think that these days in business and in the world in general, being authentic is important, right? I was reading this book. I'm still reading it. I'm almost finishing. It's called Starts With Why from Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
And he talks about this, right? And he talks about why companies, why leaders, why organizations, they're so impactful within the market or within the same organization. But it's because you have a reason on why you're doing what you're doing. It's not your what or your how you're doing it, right? Which is important. But the why you do it, it's so critical, right? So sometimes when I lead, not sometimes, I try to do this all the time. When I lead, I try to really get to know the people that I work with within my team or that I'm working with, like, managing up and down, like my boss's executive team and what have you. Because if I understand the reason why they're there, it's going to be easier for me how to do my job better. Because I can motivate and influence people or tell them what to do any day of the week. Yes, because, you're the boss. You have to make the guidelines to make the work happen, right? But anybody can do that, right? But now if I know that my team member is motivated by professional goals, the other one is motivated by family, the other one is motivated by their hobbies. Like there's so many, we're so different as people that it's very important I think at least I think that it's very important for you as a leader to find out those, reasons on why people do what they do. And then you can influence them better, get to know them better, build a connection with them. And then yes, just do your job in a different way and approach because you know why people are doing the job. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. And I love that book.
Yes, it's a good book.
I'm a Simon Sinek fan for sure. So how did you get here? So from what I've heard just now, you said I love and I can attest to the fact that you show up very authentically and you genuinely care about people. I haven't engaged with you in a work setting, but I've engaged with you in other settings. And I totally believe that when you say something, you mean it and you genuinely care. And I love that. How did you get to be the human you are today? Post school, tell me a little bit of your journey of getting from where you were and who you thought you were at that age to this amazing human that's sitting right in front of me.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the compliments, first of all. I think who am I is just gifts from a higher thing. And I'm just trying to share what gifts, he gave me. But I mean, the result of what you see today, it's the outcome of a lot of mistakes. And that's the reality. Just so many mistakes. But it's so cool when you look back to understand that you're not a mistake, regardless how many mistakes you have made. The problem is, if you made a mistake, and then you make the same mistake, and then you make the same mistake, and you keep making the same mistake, and don't learn from it. I think that's where the error comes, because we're all going to make mistakes. I remember listening on an interview, I think it was Michael Jordan, going back to MJ. Now you see, right? There's definitely something related there. But he was saying, Michael Jordan is the GOAT, right? I think also somebody similar said, Roger Federer in tennis, he said kind of the same thing. He's like, at some point in their careers, they were the number one, right? Or the greatest of all times, right? By different people. That's what they think. And they put in statistics how many shots they have missed and how many mistakes they have made throughout the games. It's hundreds, right? But they say that the difference between them and other players is their consistency on not letting them be defined by the mistake, but by how they can train to overcome that mistake that they're doing and just keep performing consistently. And I truly believe that, right? I think that there's a saying, I'm very bad at sayings. People that have worked with me, they know that I say this all the time. So I'm probably going to butcher it. But there's a saying that says, work beats talent every day. I don't know if it's work.
Uh-huh.
I think it's diligence or Something like that.
No, it makes sense as work. I mean, work beats talent every day.
Right.
Because
or hard work or hard training, something within those lines.
But that makes sense to me. Yeah.
Right. So I probably can sum up my story, my professional story in that sentence, just based on hard work. So when I get out of high school, like on most countries in Latam or in Costa Rica, traditional structure was you get out of school, go to college. Depends on your family stability, you might get a job or not. And then you graduate from school, get a job, get married, live a happy life, right? That's the old algorithm that we were raised in. I was born with a different algorithm, I think. And I wanted to play soccer. Soccer was my thing. And I had the blessing to start playing professional soccer when I was 16, 17. I did it all school and high school. And I was having like a great momentum through my beginnings of soccer. So in my mind, there was nothing else, right? I talked to my parents and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to school because you guys, I know this is important for you. It is definitely not important for me, right? I am just going to be a soccer player. And I tried that. So I was training soccer with a professional team. I was going to college and I was also working. So I was doing the three things. So I remember getting up every day, like 6 o'clock in the morning, going to train, then going to university, going back to training, start working 2 or 3 p.m. all the way to 11, and then repeat, right?
Wow.
So it was exhausting.
God, I see where the hard work comes in.
I know. But it was funny because I wasn't looking at it into that way at that moment. I was just looking in the sense that this is what I have to do, right?
Okay.
It is what it is. My family was not wealthy enough for me just to go to school and not work. And then I know I was starting as a professional player, but my salary with 17 years old, it was $60. So I know.
Breaking it in.
I know. I mean, and I'll tell you, like the first time they gave me it wasn't a check. It was an envelope with cash. And it was $60 in Costa Rican currency. I kid you not. Like how happy I got. Like they gave me $60 for playing soccer. Like this is awesome, right? Like I remember.
It's amazing to be able to make a living at what you love.
Exactly. Yeah, that was
no matter how small.
That was so fun. But so going back to the story, I couldn't make it with $60, right? So, and you know, right, you're still like a teenager or a young adult. So you want to hang out with your friends. You probably want to invite a girl to a coffee or to movies, right? And I couldn't let myself like asking my dad for money to do those things, right? So I'm like, nah, I gotta find a job, right? My mom said at that point, like, you're taking too much, which now I understand why she was saying that because she was totally right. And guys, for all of you that are listening to your mom. Moms are so wise. I know you might think they're not, but they are. In years, you will see all that wisdom. Mom, I love you. So yeah, I was doing all those things. But of course, when you do a lot, some things are overlooked from a performance perspective. You can't be excellent on everything that you do, right?
Right.
My main focus was soccer, but still, I was performing, but I could have rested better. I could have eaten better. There's so many things that I know now that I could have done better if my focus was in the right place. But I was just trying to make it as a soccer player, make a lot of money with my job, and then trying to get, my degree. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I figured I was exhausted. I was burned out. And I'm like, yeah, I cannot do this. So I need to take one of those 3 things out of the equation. So of course, organically, I said, like, I'm going to take school out, right? And of course, that freaked out all of my parents and all of my families and everybody. But I was very determined to be a soccer player. So did that. That was definitely not the wisest thing I've ever done. Looking back, I would definitely do it differently. But it's part of who I am right now, and it's part of my journey and my story. So I played soccer for almost 4 or 5 years. I got a very bad injury on my second or third year as a professional player. They were already talking to me to go into first division in Costa Rica or become like an expert player, like sending me to some other places to play abroad. And I was super excited. I already had my first very big contract with one of the biggest teams in Costa Rica called Heredia. And On the final match of the season, I twisted my ACL completely. Yeah, I got 5 pins on my knee, and it was very, very painful. They told me when the doctor called me to give me the news, he's like, "Hey, I need you to come to the doctor's office because I cannot give you this news over the phone." And I'm like, "Hey, it's just an ACL. Like, I get it. It's tough, but we'll need to push forward, right?" He's like, "No, I need to see you." Right. So I got a little bit worried.
It's bad.
It's something wrong. Yes. So I got to the office and he told me, "You will not be able to play professional soccer anymore because your injury, it's really, really bad. You turn your meniscus, you turn your medial ligament, and also you broke completely your ACL."
Oh, wow.
So recovery is going to take you like a year and a half, and we don't think the knee is going to be the same. That's number 1. And then number 2, we're seeing like a tumor on your femur, and we don't know if that's a good tumor or not, so we have to check that out. But also the strength of your leg is being deteriorated. Deteriorate, yes.
Sorry, that one's a hard one.
Yeah, it's a hard one. So we have to check on that to see if you could, if we do surgery or anything, you could limp for the rest of your life. Like, we got to take this seriously. So big news for me. Of course, horrible news. I felt alone. I felt sad. I felt like my whole world was crashing on me. And that was it. Like, that, there was no more for me, right? Because I was completely 100% focused on being a soccer player. So, of course, because it was me and I'm very stubborn. I was going to say a little bit, but that would be lying. I am very stubborn. So
it's what we love about you.
Yeah. So I talked to the doctor and I'm like, "No, guys, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to get out of this and I'm going to prove you that there's miracles and I'm going to be able to be a very successful soccer player even with this injury." So it took me 2 years to come back, more than the year and a half that they told me. 2 years. And it was very hard. It was very painful. And I was able to play for 2 more years. So on those 2 more years, I was already 24, which is already like, you're not old, clearly. But for a soccer player career, you're getting there, right? Like, you got to do something if you want to make a living out of it. So I got myself an agent. The agent was from US. He was from Atlanta. And he told me I could get you to the MLS Combine. I can get you to different exposures in the US. And, we signed a contract. So did that. I moved to Atlanta for almost 8 to 10 months to try to make it work. Play in the Combine, did a great work. I wasn't the same from a soccer player perspective. Like, I wasn't as fast as I was or as strong as I was. Like, it definitely has a toll on you from an injury perspective. But I did my best. And what I want people to take out of that story, of course, the whole story is going to add up into it. But what I want people to learn from all these that happen through soccer is to always give your best. Never hold back, right? Because if at some point in your life you're holding back and you move forward and things doesn't go the way that you want to, and let's be honest, in life, 90 to 95% of the time, things are going to go not the way that you want it to, right? So you have to be a specialist on being resilient and how to deal with that. But on the whole 100% of you trying to make things happen the way that you want it, never get the feeling that it's not because you didn't do what you were supposed to do, right? Like, you didn't put the work in, right? Or you didn't put the effort in. Because that's a hard feeling to live with. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I would have said or think to myself, I didn't train enough or I didn't try enough to get back, right? That's on me. That's on MJ. And I would never know what would have happened if I would put my 100% to it. But if you put your 100%, your 150% on all the things that you do and things doesn't come out the way that you expected, that's fine. It wasn't meant to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was not your journey, but you give your all and you did your best to make sure that could have happened. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's the passion.
Right. Yeah.
And the hard work coming together.
Yes.
And I think as well, like, I don't know if you see this part of your story this way, but you did prove them wrong. And you did
a little
make
bit.
it, right? Like it might not have had the ending that you probably imagined, but they said you'd never do it again.
Right.
And you did.
Right.
So, yeah.
At least from a professional perspective, right? But then me, like 6 months playing out in Atlanta, then my knee caved in, my right knee. And when they look into it, they told me that since I've injured my left knee, then I'm putting a lot of pressure on my right knee. So that's why I busted my right knee. I mean, I went to I needed a second surgery. So my contract in Atlanta said that if I have another knee injury, because it was something that happened before already, then they're going to pay me 50%, and my contract, I was almost like making no money, right? Okay. So I was bad, right? Because I couldn't make it as a soccer player on that last shot. And part of the story that I didn't tell is that when I was growing up as a soccer player, or just in my young adult life, I thought that having money was very important, and that being a successful person, it's based on the things that you have and that you own. So I bought a car that I couldn't afford. I had a very luxury life. And I remember having almost like $10,000 to $15,000 in debt, in credit card debt. So now I'm in Atlanta. I have no money. I'm not making a lot of cash or cash flow, right? So they offered me a job in a construction company because I knew Spanish, I knew English, right? So one of the guys that he was really close to me in Atlanta said, "Hey, I own a construction company. Do you wanna work for me?" Right? I wanted to say no because of my status, right? But you gotta do what you gotta do, right? When you gotta pay your debts and your bills, right? So I said yes, and I did that for like 3 months, and that is one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life, because that is hard. I mean, and I don't wanna. There's a lot of hard work out there, right? I don't want to say that there's not, right? A lot of people do hard work, but that hard work from a construction perspective is so heavy lifting, right? It's so physical. It's mentally exhausted as well, right? And I remember us getting to the work site at 6 o'clock in the morning and leaving at 10 p.m. every day, doing demolition work, doing painting, doing doors, tiles, roofing, the whole thing. I almost died a couple of times because, of course, I had zero experience in construction. I remember taking out a column that I wasn't supposed to take out, and the whole second floor came on me. And I'm telling you, I'm a living miracle because I didn't die. And there was like big rocks and wood. I just had like a nail cross my whole foot, so I had to go to the hospital and get the shot and all that, right? But there was 2 times like I almost died. Like literally, I'm not. I kid you not, right? Like guys were like, "You have an angel with you," and I'm like, "Yeah, I've seen the angel a couple of times." But
I've seen it right before I passed out.
Yeah. But throughout those moments, those 3-4 months in my life, I were working with a lot of people that's their life, right? They're day to day for the last 20, 15 years, and that's their future, right? They could not do anything more than that. And it hit me. It hit me hard on the sense that I have to be grateful for the things that I've gotten into my life until that point, that I have to be grateful for all the things that I have. And if I want to do something and get out of the position I am right now, the only one in charge of doing that will be myself. And if I keep doing the same things but expecting different results, that's the concept of insanity.
Yeah.
So it hit me hard. It gave me a lot of humility and being humble and being grateful. And then I came back to Costa Rica, and I had no degree. I was thinking of going back to school. The only thing that I knew how to do well was speaking English. And a little bit, as you guys have seen throughout the podcast, right? It's not the best.
Hey, you're doing a great job.
I can take a customer service call, no problem, right? I can give you an example of that any day of the week.
Yeah. All right, let's go. No.
Thank you for calling. No, I'm just kidding. So I got into the call center industry in Costa Rica, and I remember saying, like, I got to start from the bottom, just being a frontliner, an agent taking calls, and then I have to work my way up. And now I know that I have a lot of stamina because I did from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. exhausted. Like every day was exhausted. And that's why I'm saying it was also mentally exhausted, because you do it And then you know that you have to get up at 4:00 in the next day to do it again, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, I have a lot of respect for the people that they work in construction and that they put extra hours because, wow. And also when they tell you the story, it's for their family that they're doing it, right? It's not because they're living a luxury life. No, it's because they want their kids to have a better life than whatever they have, right? Mm-hmm. So going back to Costa Rica, and they told me, yeah, you have an 8 to 5 work schedule. I'm like, this is heaven, right? I have no problem with 8 to 5. But then I start, making sure that uncomfortability that I had through that season of my life, how can I take all those learnings and tough moments to what my current season was? So I remember talking to my boss and my supervisor at that point, I'm like, hey, do you mind if I stay 2 or 3 hours and just look at what you do? And he said, I remember he's saying, sure, you can do that, MJ. We're not going to pay you OT, right? Overtime. And I'm like, no, I know. It's just of my time. And they're like, all right, you're weird, but sure, you can help me out. But it's funny, right? Because that's how it's part of the algorithm. And I said it like this, but it's just part of the common sense that it's out there, right? Like, don't just do enough. Do what you have to do, but don't do more. Because then you are like in Spanish or in Costa Rica, we call them sapos. Sapos is a frog.
Okay.
I don't know why it's a frog, to be honest with you. I mean, I've thought about this a long time, but yeah, we call it sapos. And sapos is when you do more than what you're supposed to. Like, don't be a sapo with the teacher. Don't be a sapo with your boss, right? Like brown nose, right? Okay. It's something similar.
Yeah, okay.
But then, and I remember people criticizing me because of that, like my peers, right? Like my coworkers, why are you doing MJ? Like, you're so sapo, like you're so brown nose, like you shouldn't be doing that, right? And you might get the social impact on it, right? Like, should I be doing this? Am I making my peers look bad? But then at the end of the day, I was thinking like, hey, I have dreams. I have bills to pay. They're not going to pay it for me, right? I have to do what I'm supposed to, or what I think I was supposed to do to make sure that I can get out of the hole that I was financially and professionally. So I start doing that. And of course, you get good at it because when you spend 2-3 hours doing the same thing, then you get used to it and you start learning a lot of things. And when they open up a supervisor position, they didn't even interview me because they knew I was ready. So they gave me the job. And when that worked, I'm like, all right, if I did it with this role, can I do it with the next one? And can I do it with the next one?
Formula.
All right, and I did copy paste, right? Of course, it get tougher each time because my first 2 years that I did in college, it was business. But, it comes to very theoretical business. It's not actual situations that happen on the job, right?
Yeah.
So I was learning as I was going, but it's the same thing, right? The secret ingredient, if I can tell everybody, is being passionate. It's give your 100%. It's your focus. Just make sure that you dedicate to it, right? Not just do it because you have to, or just do it to finish your schedule, right? Do it because your future is in it, right? And I remember people telling me, it's like, MJ, is this your dream job? And I'm like, no. My dream job was playing soccer. Like, literally that was. But they were like, but you were so invested in this. And I'm like, yes, I have to change the chip on my mind that this is just an 8 to 5 job. This is my dream job right now. And for me to get all of the success from this job, I have to be that passionate to make sure that I'm ready for my next role and then the next role. And it wasn't perfect, of course. I wanted to be a call center supervisor for my whole life, but I knew that this was the entrance for something else. Even it was uncertain what that something else was. So I did that, and then in that company, I grew 6 or 7 roles or, corporate ladder. And the highest that I became there was an account operations manager, managing SOWs, managing client relationships, managing QBRs. But it's great. Now when I think about it, that would happen in a 4-year time period, wow. All the way from taking calls to delivering QBRs. Mm-hmm. And it's not that.
And just for all the dummies out there like me, QBRs are?
Quarterly business reviews. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. No, it's totally fine. I had no idea what it is, and I'm a business professor.
Okay. No, it's all good. Yeah. QBRs or MBRs or WBRs. So it's just changed weekly, monthly, or quarterly.
Oh.
Right. business
yes,
reviews.
I know now.
That's what it is. Yes. But it's not that I'm special or that I'm super smart, because I really don't think so. I am 1,000% sure that there's people out there that are way smarter than me. Even from an academic perspective, I was not as prepared as other people. The thing that I think was, and that's the differentiator or the secret ingredient, is the passion. It's how much passion and how much skin I put in the game, right? And how much I learned and how much I really invested myself in what I was doing to make sure that I could make my role successful. And then growing up those ladder, when you're in the leadership, then it became more serious, because now your performance is not just based on what you do, but it's based on what your team does.
Yes.
And whatever you do, good or bad, that will impact them too. So now I got into a sense like, wow, now I'm not getting up just to put food on my table. Now I'm getting up to put also food on my team's table. And now I have a team of 15 people, and then that team turns into 20, and that team turns into 50, and then 300. I mean, the latest I've had as a team in my current role is like around 700 people. But that's the thing, right? Is like, now it's not just me. Now I have to be accountable not just for my actions, but my actions could impact the jobs on so many people and other families that are counting with me to make sure that I do what I'm supposed to do to make sure that they have a job and food on their tables. So the accountability and the commitment that you get with you and your job, it just elevates, right? It escalates. And for me, responsibility and accountability and ownership, it's so important. They're definitely part of my professional values to make sure that you are, again, quote in, quote out, successful in what you do. And I say quote in, quote out because I know you and I have had a discussion, even in the class with your classroom, about what successful means, right? But in the corporate sense of what success means, it's, making you go up above and beyond in your results, in your role and what have you. And that's why I'm saying that. But yeah, I grew up 5-7 different roles in that organization. Then the company that I am right now, they wanted to hire me as a minor role than the one that I was having already in my previous job. So I was like, do I really want to go down, right? Because now you get into a mindset of growing, and then going back is not smart. But it's the same thing, guys. It's just a conception of things. Sometimes if you go back, that's because you're taking like impulse for a jump, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you could see it, right? But going up and down, it's all good. It's part of life, right? You're never going up in life. It's never going to work that way. Sometimes you go up 2 times and you go down, and it's just how you work with that, right? So it was an interesting opportunity because they told me that the person that was in charge in the country, she was a director of the country. She is going to get married, so they were looking to find succession plan for her in the next 2-3 years, right? So it was the same thing. It was like, I need to go back and then work my reputation again and work towards who I am now that I've already established that in this company, but I have to start all over.
Right.
And yeah, it's uncomfortable, but I think that in life, you need to be uncomfortable a lot of times to make sure that you can grow. Because if you're just too comfortable, why moving up, right? It's just why over delivering? Why being excellent if you're comfortable, right? So did that, and I managed to get her job to like a year and a half later. She got married, she moved to the US, so I was in charge of Costa Rica. Same thing, being like the general manager of the director of an organization in Costa Rica. We were like around 350 people at that time. And then 2 months later, after I got the job, we lose the contract.
Wow.
It was just one contract for a company, a tech company. We lose that contract. They sold the whole business, and I had to fire 350 people in 48 hours.
Wow.
It's one of the most challenging and disappointing things I've done in my career, because it is sad. I go back to the way I see it is taking food out of people's tables, nothing that you can control. It's just the way it is.
Right.
But it's still hard. It's super hard, right? So the good thing is, if you're in leadership, do always the right thing for the right reasons. Always. Don't put that for sale, or don't doubt on doing that, because sooner or later you're going to see the fruit out of those things. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when we did that, I remember in Costa Rica, you can either pay severance or not, depending on the situation. But there was a way for you not to pay severance. And I was like, no, we're not doing that, right? It's already hard enough for them that we're taking, and I know it's not our fault, right? But we don't have a job for them. How we're not going to give them severance? I understand there's a profitability conversation that we need to have, but it's just not the right thing to do, guys, right? So I was able not to convince, but just to put that perspective into our executive team at that point in time. They understood it. They're also people, and I appreciate that. And we were able to do the right things. And people were very happy with us and our leadership and how we handled that situation, because it could have been worse, but we try to be people through that madness, right? So did that, and I'm like, all right, it's great. I came to a director role just to get fired. But it's the same thing, right? If you always do your 100% and try to be excellent, somebody's watching, right? And there's always blessings in that. So I try to be excellent through that process, which was a very bad process. But the company, the corporate headquarters, they loved the way how I approached it and how I handled it. That they're like, hey, we don't want to lose you. So would you be up to coming to the US and having a job here for our company? We don't know why, because we need to figure that out, but we don't want to lose your talent. And I said, yes, of course, right? Like, number one, I need the job, right? I'm still getting out of debt. And then two, it's an important milestone to just have the opportunity to get into the US, big country, a lot of jobs, right? A lot of big market and a lot of talent, a lot of opportunities here, and see how people work and network and all that. So I said yes. And I kind of like moved here, but not completely, because I was traveling back and forth. Within that traveling back and forth, because we needed to close the company in Costa Rica, and that takes like 6 to 9 months, and I was still the responsible for that from a financial perspective, legal perspective, and all that. Now, so I was going back and forth, and when I got here to the US, I'm like, oh, there's opportunities, but there's also opportunities for down in Costa Rica. And I was able to reopen that office 4 months later. Well, we didn't reopen it. We never closed it. So we continued the organization, and we managed to get one contract there for 7 people. Same thing, a short story happened to me. The contract that they gave me the first time in Costa Rica for those 7 folks was for only a year, 1 year contract. So you can imagine that when you do hiring people for just 1 year, it's tough, because nobody wants to have a job for 1 year, right?
Especially if they're leaving another more secure job
to
come for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. I mean, if you don't have a job, it is what it is. You get what you get, right?
Right.
But you know you're going to have high attrition, because people are like, I don't want a 1 year contract, right? So same thing at that point in time, my leadership told me, don't tell them that. Don't tell them it's a 1 year contract. And I was like, no, like, I'm sorry. This is what you hire. Honesty. Yeah. And we'll figure it out. And it's going to be tough, but we can't not mention that to it. It's the same as lying, right? So I had to battle that one a little bit, but I managed to do it my way in that sense, because I think, going back to what I said, doing the right thing for the right reasons. And I told every person that I hire, hey, it's just a 1 year contract. If we do really well, they might extend the contract. It's up to us, but this is what I have. And I have to be 100% honest with you. I was the one doing the hiring. A bunch of people told me no, but I got 7 yeses, right? And I'm very fortunate and blessed to say that from those 7 people, I still work with 5 of them.
Wow.
And they're still working with us.
Cool.
Yes. And all of the 5 that they said yes, and they were starting same thing as a frontliner agent, not taking calls, but it was different environment because it was within supply chain. But all of those 5 has grown into different roles, right? So they have grown like 2 or 3 tiers already.
Good.
One of the guys that told me yes, his name is Jose. He's a good friend now. He was a supervisor in another company. He was going to quit that to get into an agent role. And I'm like, Jose, I don't know, dude. Like, I know you trust me, but I think that's too much. Like, that's because, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you're already a supervisor, you're already growing in your career, and then quitting that for something that I'm just telling you is a year.
Yeah.
But he was like, MJ, I trust you. I trust your leadership. You're always passionate. You always go. And now he's senior operations manager. He has grown 4 levels in Costa Rica, and he's applying for another job right now that I'm pretty confident he's going to get. But it's so interesting how life presents in a way of you doing what you're supposed to do, right? And I think that a lot of times we know what we're supposed to do, but we get lazy, we get scared, we doubt if that's the way we should do it. And it doesn't matter what you choose. You should just put your 100% in it, right? But then, just to finish the story, then we grew up Costa Rica from 7 people to, again, 300 people, 8 different clients, like around 12 different contracts, which was something that we didn't have before because we only had 1 contract back then. And then we did so good that the company was bought by a major firm. And that's the company that I work for right now. They bought us because they knew that we were doing something different. And when I talked to my previous CEO, that he's still in the company, and he told me, he's like, MJ, you know that one of the factors why Accenture bought us this time, because we were trying to make this happen, this transaction, for like 3 or 4 years already, but they said, no, you guys are not ready for being part of Accenture. And one of the differentiators this time was Costa Rica.
Wow.
And the job that we did there. And that felt with so much joy and proud. And I remember when we opened that office from a free trade zone perspective and we did a big event, I remember the CEO talking to me and saying, remember this day and be proud about this day. Because 3, 4, 5 years ago, you close an office and you had to fire 350 people like this, but you were visionary enough and passionate enough to go back and redid the whole thing for another. And it was funny because from those 300 that we have back then in Costa Rica, almost 70% of the people, they were rehires from the first experience because they knew how we were, right? So it was so good back to give that back to them and be able to do it. But again, it's not because I was super smart and super intelligent and a great business person or a great salesperson. No, it was just because I was passionate, dedicated, invested, and I was ready to do what we're supposed to do, go above and beyond, right? And then, that happened. Accenture bought us, and now they relocated me here in Boston in 2022. And it's funny now because now I'm trying to make the same thing that I kind of like did in Costa Rica, but here, which is interesting, right? Because at some point I was like, oh, I'm starting all over. Because I am, right? Like I have very limited network here. I have a bunch of network in Costa Rica. I have limited here. And again, Costa Rica is 5 million people. So when I say that I have a bunch of network there, is a bunch because it's a very small country.
Right.
Here, Massachusetts is bigger than Costa Rica.
Yeah.
So I have very little network within the whole US, right? So I remember coming back here and I'm like, oh, I have to do it all over again. I'm way out of my comfort zone. But then it hits me and it's like, remember, MJ? Being uncomfortable is good. Just make sure that you do what you're supposed to do and just start over, right? So for all of you guys that are listening to us right now, I know it could be scary when you're in university and you're trying to find a job and you can't, or you're like, I study this, but this is not really my passion. I want to study something else. That means that I need to spend more time and money in school learning some other trade and some other thing. And the answer might be yes. But my advice to you is don't let yourself down. Don't quit. Always bring your A game. Always bring your 100% in everything that you do. And if that means that you're working on a coffee shop right now because you're still trying to a company to open you and give you an internship or something, give your 100% in that coffee shop. There's thousands of stories of people that they look into somebody because they were an excellent coffee person or an excellent waiter, and they're like, hey, do you have a job? I have a company and you might be good for this. And boom, that's it. That was the change that they need or the opportunity that they need based on something that somebody saw based on your delivery, right? But I keep telling people that when you work, your name is your brand. Right. And you got to take care of your brand. It doesn't matter what you do, right? When somebody hire you, they're hiring Juan Miguel, they're hiring MJ, they're hiring you as a person, right? So what you have to offer as a brand, that's important. And that doesn't happen in a classroom. That doesn't happen in a coffee shop. That doesn't happen in a big corporation. That happens on everything that you do, right? So give your best on everything, right? You don't know who's watching. And when you give your best, it's so interesting because you just don't take life situation as just situations. You take every situation as a learning opportunity. So you're not just giving your best, but you're learning and taking in from every situation that you're having. And that's going to help you in your personal life. It's going to help you in your professional life. It's just a status of living and understanding how you can take all that into your next role, into your next relationship, into your next whatever, right? But yeah, I think I've talked too much, so I'm just going to be quiet because this has been like the longest podcast ever. I'm sorry.
No, it hasn't. Don't worry. But that's wisdom. And I think the thing that I love is that you're like work hard, yes, and bring your best, yes. But I think what I learned from your story specifically is you're not, although it does result in more opportunity, you're not doing it with the future in mind. You're doing it in the present. Like you're fully, when you're showing up as fully present and doing the best you can with what you have in your hand. And yes, that opens doors. And yes, that windows pop open or up or whatever. But it's not like you're going, I'm doing this now so that I can do this. You're like, no, this is what I'm doing now. I'm going to do the best and I'm going to love the people as best I can. I'm going to put food on as many people's tables as I can now. And then it leads to that diligence and that excellence that you bring leads people to notice and provide you with other opportunities. And I think that's so like a real subtle difference in there that sometimes we miss, right? We're like, oh, I'm going to do it really good. It's like, I'm going to do really good at this because I want to be there, right? And it's like, we're still half in the future or we're doing it really well now because we're trying to like cover up a mistake from the past. But when you are fully present, like in the moment, and you just go, this is what's in my hand right now, and I'm going to do the best I can with what I have in my hand, and I can't do more than I can, and I can't do less than I can. I'm just going to do exactly what I can. And it's amazing to see, like, over, the 20 years since you've been 20, or even the 25 years since you were starting to think about playing sport professionally, where you've ended up and all the amazing things that you've done.
I couldn't imagine in my wildest and best dream what I'm currently living. I seriously, no. Like my best dream professionally at some point was like managing a company in Costa Rica. That was it. Wow. Like that was my pinnacle. That was my Everest. Yeah. And then knowing where I am right now, I'm telling you, Nikki, it's a miracle. Like I've never thought about this, right? And I think you could be strategic on where you want to be. That's not a bad skill set. But again, we go back to our beginning of our conversation. 95% of the times, it's not going to get you where you want to be. So I could be strategic and say, oh, I want this, and then I'm going to go to be a senior vice president, and then I'm going to be in the C-suite, and then finally on my third attempt, I'm going to be a CEO. Okay. I would love to be a CEO one day. There's 95% chances that life is not going to go that way, right? But I could be so many other things that is not even in my mind.
Yeah.
So why I'm going to close my options to other things when I don't even know what I can control right now, and I cannot control any of those things, becoming this or that, right? Because a lot of things need to align for that to happen the way that I want to. The only thing that I have 100% control is today, is what I'm doing today to become a better professional, what I'm doing today to become a better student, what I'm doing today to become a better person. All of those things are within my control, 100%. If I give my all into that, I know that a door is going to open. It could open tomorrow. It could open in a week. It could open in a year. Right. But if I keep being consistent on who I am and on those things that I can control, something is going to open up. And, there's a lot of concepts I know that based on what you and I believe, there's a Christian concept on it, but there's also a more worldly concept about karma. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's like you're growing, you're investing in yourself, and life is going to pay you that back at some point because of what you're doing today, right? And then the other thing that I want to mention based on today's world, because I know that it's not just people in universities. I can tell you guys that people in corporations, everybody's freaking out about AI. Everybody. And Gen AI and agentic, and I've even heard articles saying like, oh, they're going to take over the world and all these things, and it's a mess. And I think it's messy. It is messy. Right. But what I think that we are a little bit underestimating, it's humans' relationships and humans' capabilities. An AI is incredible resourceful. It will never be a human. And I think the power that we have as humans on bringing up together more humans to make decisions, to create things together, to resolve problems, is something that corporations and the world knows that we cannot be left out of the equation, right? And right now, I'm actually overseeing different contracts where we're putting AI and agentic to it. But what everybody's talking about is the human in the loop. The human needs to be part of the decision making. The human needs to be part of the tweaking, understanding what is exception management, what does come from a transaction, what it has to involve the human's feelings, because it cannot be all that transactional.
Right.
So what I want people to understand is that the world is changing, yes, but I think it's changing to something better. And I think job market and the jobs are also going to change into that. And again, it goes back to what we're just discussing. You cannot control any of that. You cannot control what the corporations are going to do or who's going to take AI fully and who's not and who's going to still believe in humans. Those are things that neither Nikki or Juan Miguel or anybody can control. What you can control is what you can do about it, right? So my recommendation is learn. If something is scary, it is scary because you don't know it.
Right.
Get to know it. How does it work? How it processes so much information? How does it connect with other agents? Like there's so much information out there to become an AI expert that we, corporations, we need so many people like that. And then to understand, all right, I understand the AI piece. Now, how I'm going to apply the AI to humans and to relationships and to the workspace and to the workforce. And who's going to make that dynamic work? It's a big question mark right now. Whomever finds out that answer, can imagine, everybody will want that, right? From an HR perspective, from a balance standpoint, because the balance will always need to be there. But now we're going into this transition, finding that out and how we can work together and how we can make that happen. But going back to what I was saying is what you can control is today. Learn about it. Don't just push back on it, right? Always have your mind open to different things or different ways to doing things, because you don't know if right now it's an opportunity that tomorrow is going to become a strength.
Right.
And you are 100% control into that.
And I think something to connect that back to something you were saying before about hard work. I think because AI can do a lot of things, especially in university, I know a lot of professors are a little bit older. They're a little bit slow on the innovation. So AIs can do a lot of assignments. Right. AIs can do a lot, right? And you probably can get away with it. But that actually bites you in the butt down the road, right? Instead of going, okay, how can I utilize the best of AI and then add my part on top, like the things that I can do and extend what I could do for this assessment or this exam or this assignment further, right, because I now have these capabilities of AI. So I think there is a risk that it can help us, like it could make us lazy.
Of course.
Right? It can make us lazy. And I think that's where your story and your commitment to hard work actually comes back onto the table in this conversation, because it's like don't wait for someone to tell you to put in the hard work. Right. Like, don't wait for that person to come up and slap you on the butt with a stick or give you a carrot and try and incentivize that hard work out of you. Right? Because AI is kind of almost like not good. You're going to be able to work out hacks and ways to make life easy for yourself. Like, you have to choose internally to put in that hard work and to go that extra mile and to learn those skills and go, okay, what is the human part that I can play in this, and now that AI can do so much for me, and things like that. So I think I love that we've kind of like gone full circle and come back there, and it does really come down to hard work looks different today because of AI, and we have to work out what the human hard work is.
Yes.
And if we can do that for ourselves as students and as early career professionals, like who knows where we could be as AI use grows and things like that.
Right.
So, but there's no one externally that's going to tell us what that is because nobody knows.
Right. So, and I would add one component to all that about hard work. It's also work ethics, right? And that's a fine line, but it goes back to what I was saying, do the right thing for the right reasons. Because can you get away with an assessment just by doing an AI? Yes. Are you learning? No. So you're passing the assignment, but who cares?
Right.
You're not learning. So at the end, you're the only one that you're messing yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's super important. And then the other thing that I was going to say is development is key, and self-development, it's so important, but also understand how that development is impacting you personally. Because I think they go hand in hand, right? I remember people saying, I remember old baby boomers saying, oh, when you work, just leave your problems outside the office and come here and do your thing. That's impossible.
Right.
We're holistic beings, right? So everything that you do is going to impact you one way or the other one. Just make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. Again, why you're doing it, the why. You have to understand what is your why, right? And why you do it. Because when you want to become lazy, when you want to just do the assignment with AI, am I answering the why? Am I answering why am I doing this? Is matching the why I want to get, right? Or where I want to get.
Yeah.
Like all those things are so important. Last thing about what you said on AI, I read an article that says they study human brain waves when you do AI and when you think like projects. They manage two projects, two groups of people with the same project. One people, they say that you have completely access to AI. The other one says you have some access to AI. The other one was like you have no access to AI. Have to think all through. The results were very similar, but the scientists were very surprised by the fact that the people that they used their mind were the ones that were using way more their brain than the ones that were just prompting what they needed, right? Similar outcome, way more access to information than the people that had full access to AI, but they were not thinking, right? So the way that I'm seeing it is like AI, it's very important, but you're just like putting your brain to sleep and just activating whatever you need to make it work, but you're not really thinking, right? So think of that whenever you're working on an assignment or project or what have you, that AI could be resourceful and useful, but just to a certain extent. You don't want your brain not to be doing the hard work.
So good. I love that. I think that is a great place for us to leave it.
Okay.
Do you have any wise final words that you want to share that are coming top of mind right now?
Oh, now that you put me in the spot.
There's been so much, so it's totally fine if not, but I just always like to give everybody the opportunity. If there's something that you want to say that you haven't said yet.
No, I think I've said it all. I mean, I think if I can conclude with anything, guys, is don't quit. Keep pushing yourself, even on your darkest hour. Just keep on holding, keep on pushing. Something is going to come up. If it happened for me, there's no reason why it couldn't happen for anybody. Yesterday, I was listening to a podcast, actually, and there was a sentence that stuck with me, and it's from Mother Teresa. And she said, we came to this world not to be successful. We came here to be faithful. I love that. And it could take different meanings, right? But how I want to approach it to these audiences, be faithful to yourself. Be faithful to your dreams. Don't believe what the world says that success is. Just be true of what you want to get and how you want to get it, and just fight. Don't quit, and give your 100% on everything that you do. Even if you want to become a CEO, but you're starting in a coffee shop right now, do that job as you were the CEO. Mm-hmm. And that will open doors. I can guarantee it will. So never quit. Always give your best. Even if you think that nobody's watching, somebody's watching. And that will definitely bring opportunities to your life.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much
No problem.
for giving up your time on a Saturday afternoon to share your wisdom with us.
Oh, thank you, Nikki, for inviting me. This was fun. Super, super fun.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
You. I hope you really enjoyed the conversation with Juan Miguel. Gosh, his story inspired me yet again. I'm just so blown away by his constant commitment to hard work and learning and growing as a person. I hope that you found some really cool nuggets of wisdom that you can take away and apply to your own life and your own story. And thanks so much for listening, and we will see you next week.